Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to LectoraLive. We are streaming right now live on YouTube, and we're going to do the show recording in about a minute. We've got with us, Felipe Prieto from Trivantis. He's on the development team, so we're going to talk a little bit about development and all the things going on at Trivantis. So I think we're all ready. We've been talking for a while, and with stories we can't share. So now we're going to actually get into an interview. So let's start the show recording. Let's switch shots, and we're going to start the show recording in 3, 2, and 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to LectoraLive, your inside track into Lectora. Today we've got with us a development genius, one of the people from the development team at Trivantis. Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Let's go through our intro. And we are back. Well, today we've got with us Felipe Prieto. He is one of the developers at Trivantis, and I met him briefly I met him at the Lectora User Conference 2016 in Fort Lauderdale, which is not too far from their offices. But anyway, how are you today, Felipe?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm glad you could make it. And I do remember you from the conference. You were in the Lectora booth for, I think, a couple of days, and my wife took the scripting class that John Blackman did. She loved it, and you were one of the lab assistants helping everybody out. So she remembered you very well from that.
Yep. I think I had to work with everybody in that class. Yeah.
But what exactly do you do with the Trivantis development team?
So I'm a software developer. I started in 2007 as a tester, actually. And for 6 months I was a tester, and then a position opened up for software development. And ever since then I've been a software developer, and now I'm a senior software developer. So.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Do you have any specific part of the product that you work on, or is it just...
Yes, mostly Lectora for the desktop, so Publisher and Inspire.
Okay.
But I have worked on Lectora Online. I have yet to work on Course Mill yet, though.
Okay. I guess you guys are going to be inheriting that pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Well, we use mostly desktop in-house, and we've got a copy of the online. And they're both so close. I mean, sometimes I can't even tell there's a difference.
And they get closer every day, and sometimes it gets confusing when you're working on one. Which one's up right now? It's hard to tell sometimes.
And surprisingly, the online version, I would think, would be a lot slower. No, it's actually pretty darn fast.
Right, browsers are getting really fast nowadays, and it's hard to keep up with them. Yeah,
it's true. We tend to use Firefox in here. I know we use IE for some of our, the customer things. There's a lot of customers are still on IE, but we tend to use Firefox, a little bit of Google Chrome. I don't find Google Chrome works that well with anything, but that's just me. But Firefox works really well with Lectora, and the online just whizzes. Sometimes I do have to do a double take, and I look, I'm in a browser, okay, because it feels just about the same as desktop. But we've been on desktop for about 10 years now, and it's been good. It's been a lot of fun to work with, and all. You guys have been busy.
Yeah,
it's been really busy. Your development cycles have sped up a lot from the old days, and it's pretty amazing watching. Every time I turn around, it's new version, here we go again.
Yeah,
it's like, and there's a lot of little secrets that you guys put out there, whether in the release notes, but there's always some new stuff that you're adding, and I've been hassling John Blackman for a specific fade for a long time, and the last time I saw the online upgrade, wait a minute, where'd the fade come from? Yeah, he stuck it in there. And I think it's not yet in desktop, but it's coming. Or maybe it is, because there's a new version. I have to upgrade it. I just got a notice, I think a couple of days ago. So we have to update that one. You guys have been busy on all the updates.
Yeah, yeah. It's been pretty hectic, but we pull through. We got a lot of good management going on right now. So
You guys
we're
have
doing good.
good folks. Yeah, when we were at the Lectora User Conference, I never really realized this. I mean, we worked a product for a long time. I've known John for quite a few years already. But I never realized how close that team is. And some of those guys have worked together 20, 25 years from other companies.
Yes.
And I went,
Yeah.
that's actually a selling feature to me, because that's a team that's tight, that knows each other.
Absolutely.
We made
Actually,
a joke.
coming in as a software developer, getting out of college. This is my first job, by the way. I don't know
great.
if I mentioned that. This is my first job out of college.
Mhm.
And coming in green as a developer, you have a lot to live up to when you come into this company, because John Blackman, Bob Zybach,
Yeah.
Joe Wheelock, Darren Lucan, these, just to name a few, these guys worked like IBM. They've
I know.
done operating systems development.
I know. OS2.
For development, I mean, that to me, that's the pinnacle. And that's a lot to live up to. And you learn so much. And this being a small company, another thing is you get to touch on a lot of different parts of the products and a lot of different products. I mean, you can't just focus on one thing either. So
No.
this is a great learning environment for someone coming up, and I feel blessed, to be able to join the company at such a young age, and this be my first.
I agree with you. I was a programmer for many years. I was in IT for 25 years. So that was my background in development and systems. And you guys have a great team, period. And when we were there, even the younger guys that like you and some of the other folks, it's a solid team all the way through.
Right.
And that's what I loved about it. And not only that, you've got Renee Morgan there, who's Morgan El Pirata, the pirate. So he was telling us he's actually related to Morgan the pirate. He's the great grandson. I go, you're kidding? That's so cool. So I called him Morgan El Pirata the whole time we were at the show. He was going to be on the show, but he was on vacation, I think last week. So we're trying to reschedule him back on. He's got a great personality.
Renee is great. He can talk your head off about chess. If you want to talk about
chess, huh? I used to play chess. That was a long time ago.
You should talk.
See, he probably beat my buns off with that right
He's
now.
good.
Is he good?
No joke.
I was really good at chess when I was in elementary and high school, and a little bit of college. I played tournaments, and I was pretty good. I knew all the openings. I studied it. I had more chess books at home. My parents thought I was crazy. Why is he doing? What's he doing? He's playing with chess. Why? I don't know, but leave him alone. He's not bothering anybody. Okay. He's quiet right now. Leave him alone. But chess is fun. I didn't realize he was like a chess master.
Oh yeah, he brought in like 5 different chessboards, and
Wow.
we were having games every now and then. I gave up on it. I think I was too old to start learning.
It's hard. It's hard, well, especially when you have a full-time job, because chess is strategy. You've got to really think the moves ahead. Sometimes I noticed that once I became full-time IT in my, actually in my 20s, but in my 30s, by then I was managing and directing, and I went, I don't have time to play chess. And when I played chess, I could tell the brain was going, don't you need a break? Yeah, I need a break. It's good. It's one of those games that consumes, you're going 10, 20, 30 moves ahead sometimes.
Yeah.
And thinking of all the permutations and everything, but it's a fun game. It does keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
I heard you guys have another game in there that you guys are masters at.
Foosball. Foosball. Yeah, that's
Foosball.
another thing. Coming into this company, I didn't know that I loved foosball. Like,
It's fun.
It is my favorite game right now, almost. I mean, I'm a big video game nerd. But foosball is just, that is the game right now.
It's fun. And I heard you guys have more than one foosball.
Oh yeah. We have a tournament, small tournament every day.
Every day, that's cool.
Every day. Not everybody gets to play because we can only do 4 different teams.
Yep.
But for the most part, everyone in the office kind of gets together. Who can, if they're busy, I get it. But the groups come together, and people talk trash, and it's a way to get friendlier and build camaraderie. And
I heard John Blackman can spin the ball in the air doing something or other. They said he's got some tricks up his sleeve with that.
Yeah. I would say John Blackman is probably the number one right now in the office. I would venture to say that I am a close number two. And
that's good. You got to beat the old guy,
Yeah, and he was a lot of motivation. I really wanted to beat him. That was the key. I really wanted to beat him.
It was funny because at the Lectora user conference, for those who didn't attend, you should have. It was fun. John was sick the whole time, and you'd barely know it.
Oh, yeah.
This is a man who runs at an energy level that 15-year-olds would be envious of.
Yeah.
So even while sick, he's just moving. And then, everybody else, Lori Lynn Todd, who's the CEO, she was running sick. Energy. I mean, I think Scott Barnett was almost sick. And there were a lot of people we were talking to that were just on the edge of sick. Daryl was sick. I go, really?
Yeah.
You look okay. So nobody showed any signs of actually being sick. In fact,
I got sick shortly after. I'm blaming John on that one.
But, you guys were stuck in a room, but we didn't get sick. No, Leslie didn't get sick. Nobody that we knew of got sick after that. So you kept the germs pretty localized. So that was good. But it's a lot of fun. Well, foosball's fun. I remember I never played that much foosball, but when I did, it was just a blast. It's a fun game. And you know what? People who aren't familiar with development environments, you need to blow off some steam sometimes because it's intense.
Yep. And sometimes, you're stuck on something and, looking at a problem for longer than 30 minutes, sometimes you just got to walk away. And come back fresh. And that's an easy way to do it.
Well, also, the good thing with you guys is you have enough people to just say, hey, can you take a quick look at this? And fresh eyes, right there. And then you just kind of... Yeah,
we got a lot of smart people here, and that's a great environment to work in. So
yeah, it's fun. Well, one thing I noticed is they all seem to have a good mentoring mentality too. So what is it? A rising tide lifts all ships. I get that feeling over there because it just seems that everybody's just growing, and that's. Yep. I mean, to me, that's just in today's day and age, that's just a pleasure to see. It's just one of those good things. Did you go to school in computer science or?
I did computer engineering, actually.
Engineering, okay.
Went to Florida International University.
Okay.
Computer engineering.
Is that in Orlando?
No, that's in Miami.
It's in Miami, okay. There's something else that was international in Orlando. I can't remember what it was. But that's pretty good. So computer engineering, what's the difference between that and, let's say, becoming a software engineer?
The main difference is it's a little bit more hardware than software. Okay. Computer science is purely software, usually.
Okay, right.
And computer engineering, you deal with programming, but you also deal with hardware, electrical currents and circuits and stuff like that. Yeah.
Pretty good. So one day we'll see a device that just kind of like a cattle prod while you're learning. No, you got that wrong 3 times. Put your hand on the correction device. No, not again.
Negative reinforcement.
It works.
By Trivantis.
Yes, at Trivantis. So, number 1 in its class. That's funny. So was your transition, I imagine that as a software engineer, they probably also taught you C or C++ and some other programming languages?
Yeah, in college it was mostly Java.
Java, okay.
I had one class in C++. I didn't really learn C++ until this job.
Okay.
And, now it's my favorite language. I would prefer it over any other language.
Interesting. Now Java's similar though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the syntax is very similar.
Almost the same, yeah.
The biggest difference is your memory management stuff. I highly encourage anyone trying to get into programming to consider C++ because in my eyes, if you can master C++, I feel like every other language gets a little easier.
You're right. You're right. Because C++, I mean, any programming language, but C++ in particular, because of all the objects you have. I have some friends that were real .NET programmers, and they go, in the old days, we used to know the whole language. Now, he goes, we've got like 3,600 objects just in C++. He goes, there's no way you know them all. He goes, you kind of know where to look for them, but you don't know every single one of them. And he goes, it's a lot of power in that. And then, of course, you can buy special libraries and everything else to make things even more powerful. And it shows in the program you guys do. What I can tell is that there's a lot of, at least it feels that way, there's quite a bit of object orientation. Most people don't realize that Lectora really is a code generator.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And people don't realize that's one of the hardest things to program.
Yes, definitely. We make software that makes other software.
Yeah.
Like, how do you wrap your head around that? How do you test that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you test every scenario? You can't. That's the real answer.
Right.
It's if you think about it, it kind of throws you for a loop.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I've written some code generators in the past, a long time ago, and they were pretty simple. But to create a code generator, if you're not familiar with programming, you're taking pieces, blocks of code that make up other blocks of code. Let's say Trivantis generates HTML and HTML5, and you're using libraries that come from different places and add-ins and everything. So you're taking those blocks and then you're creating a final HTML course out of it.
Yep.
That's not that easy.
No.
Actually, a lot of people think it's, Trivantis is just a tool. No, it's a code generator. And people go, what's a code generator? It's something that generates everything you're seeing there. And when you're right, when you get your mind around how much that takes, and I've been around code generators probably about 30 years. It's pretty much, actually even longer, probably about 35 years. When I was in college, I knew people who did code generators, and this is really primordial back in college. I mean, we didn't even have monitors when I started in college. We had printers. And you had a box behind, and you would interact with the printer, basically. You had a keyboard on the printer. There were no monitors. And so we had to write our programs basically to talk to paper. It was interesting. And then within about a year or two of that, the first monitors came out. They were like 3 feet deep. And they generated, and you glowed after you worked on them for about 3-4 hours. You just had a green glow about you. Those were the good old days.
My first computer was a Commodore 64.
Yeah, mine was an Atari something or other when the 64 was out. They were competitors. And then they had the Trash 80, the Radio Shack. TRS 80, the Trash 80. So that was right around the 80s, about early 80s, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was about when they came out. I had my first PC, I think back on it now, $3,500. It had 2 floppies, no hard drive. It had 10 megabyte hard drive, 10 megabytes, 10. We now have terabytes, period. And the 10 megabyte hard drive was thick. It was like 5 inches high, not 2.5. I mean, it was amazing. And
this was back when floppies were floppy.
Oh, yeah, we had floppies. We had the real original 5.25 inch floppy. And that was $3,500 back then with a little teeny weeny, maybe 12-inch monitor. And monochrome, forget color. It was a monochrome monitor. And that's why, for all those people who have screensavers, you don't need them anymore. People don't even know why they have a screensaver other than it's just a cute graphic or animation. But in the old days, if you didn't have a screensaver on, the image of whatever you left up there would be etched into the monitor. Yeah. And it would ruin your monitor.
You see that problem with a lot of security systems because they're...
That's right. They could see the security codes being typed in.
So they just need a little screensaver and they're done. They're fixed.
The good old days. It's fun. Actually, you go back and to me it doesn't seem that long ago, but it's a generation ago. It's 3 generations ago. And it's amazing how much things have changed, and I love it. I love the new stuff and the way it is. And when you keep up with it, it's just fun. It's just a lot of fun. And you guys have done so much with that code generator over the last 2-3 years that it's absolutely mind-boggling. Because I know the work that goes behind it, and I know how not easy some of it is. And you're dealing with something that would drive me crazy, browsers.
Yeah.
And they all work differently. A lot of times when people call up, now if you're watching this and let's say you're a Lectora user, you're thinking of Lectora's not that buggy. It's really rather clean. But the browsers aren't. And the browsers can cause you more grief because they're not compatible like they should be. Right. And you've got Google, which to me is probably the most incompatible. You've got Firefox, which I find very compatible, mostly, occasionally not. and IE, which is still kind of shipping rocks in the old ages, though the new version actually is a little cleaner. Though I do wonder when you're using the new IE, which is Edge, the Edge browser on Windows 10, you get Google Chrome error messages. So I do sometimes wonder if they licensed it, or
I believe they're using the open source engine underneath WebKit.
Yep. So that may be it, because the messages that look like Google Chrome messages, I go, this is odd. Microsoft's joined the real world. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's still burned into my memory to just not use Internet Explorer.
I avoid it. And we have to, though, because most of our clients are still on it, though some are starting to open up. These are big multinationals, and they're finally starting to say, we can use Chrome now, or we can use Firefox. I'm like, really? Wow.
That is good.
This is good. It's good.
We need more of that. We definitely need more of that.
And hopefully that's a lot less calls.
We will make development decisions based off of customers making, still using Internet Explorer, and unfortunately, that kind of hurts development for improvements, for new features, for using new browser capabilities and stuff like that. I mean, when we have to make a decision based off a browser from 2000 or 2005.
Oh, absolutely. The people are still using IE6 out there it's like IE6? Oh, yeah. Gosh. And they go, yeah, it's secure. I go, man, I guess nobody else uses this. It must be secure. But now, I've got to ask you, because when you guys came out with the responsive, I still think that is the best implementation of responsive I've seen anywhere. The flexibility. In fact, we had Joe Gonchi on last week. He's a developer, and he showed how easy it is to really create a responsive class and show different parts of an application, how you want an avatar on this page, but you want them in a different position here, and how easy it is to really modify all that.
Yep.
How hairy was that to code?
You know what? This is it wasn't as bad, and I want to attribute that to the fact that Lectora Online team was also working on it at the same time. So when you have two different teams attacking it at the same time, what you do is you kind of collect what you've learned on each end, and it kind of speeds things up. I mean, you have one team finding out problems that maybe the other one wouldn't, and stuff like that. Yeah. And furthermore, you have, you run into problems, and it smooths out the architecture, I feel. Right. You have more eyes on it. Yep. And then you have a smoother transition. But it was tough. It definitely was tough, and there were so many iterations of it.
Because it's complex. I mean, what you guys did with that looks easy, and that's what I've always liked about Lectora. A lot of people, I've heard this throughout the years. Lectora is difficult. It's hard. I'm going. It actually isn't. It's actually pretty straightforward in a lot of ways. The whole metaphor is simple, but you guys have always done something that I thought was really cool. You take very complex things and make them really user-friendly, like non-programmer-friendly. The actions, there's a lot of power in those actions, and you can get very elegant with the code you develop in Lectora, and people think it's just, I'm just doing an action. There's a lot of code behind that. Yeah. And that's what I love. That's what I've always loved. And of course, you're generating that as HTML, which is even more complex. And like I said, we've done some pretty complex stuff, and never really ran into a major bug. We had a couple bugs here and there, but they're always usually fixed within days. Right. Once we report a bug, I'm always surprised how quickly fixes come in, and that's good. And like you said, it's near impossible to test every single thing in the world, or what somebody will do with it. Yep. And that's where it gets a little crazy, because people can put in characters or something that might throw something off. And though you guys are pretty good, you haven't really. I can only think of one incident over the last 10 years where that was recently, where it was a couple characters got through, and it caused bullets to not act right. And we reported it, and within about 3 days, we had the patch. It was perfect. So, and in fact, Bob Zyback called me up and said, "Okay, I understand you're having a problem. Can you send me your code?" We did. He goes, "Got it." It was just control characters. when they filter out control characters that go in, this is something that can go to word processor. You type in Control B, excuse me, for bold or something, and it just wasn't being recognized. Within 3 days, fixes in, everybody gets it. Most people didn't even know it was a bug at one point.
Right.
And that's cool. Believe me, I've reported bugs to some other vendors that 10 years ago are still there. So,
and text is one of those things that it's very difficult to test.
yes.
It's kind of like the idea of development software where you never really know every permutation of text. You never know how a user is going to use bullets in every single way.
Right.
And we have our text engine in Lectora, and then we have to convert that to HTML. So, you know, it's kind of a lot to wrap your head around there.
Yeah, and the problem with text is a lot of people, we included, copy and paste from Word docs, from other docs. So there's a ton of copy and pasting which has to go into that text framework, and then you've got to clean it up so that we don't. Now, there is one way, I think, a workaround, and that's basically whenever you import text, make it unformatted.
Right, strip the formatting.
And then you never have a problem. Then you create your own formatting from the styles that you've created, and life is good. Yeah, I do have a request. I've asked John this one, and I think I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we're going to get that soon. But that's on styles. We have a multi-person team, so there's a lot of passing from one person to another, and we really figured this out last year because we started changing some of the approaches we took. One person has a style, but the other person doesn't. So unless we copy the styles and import them into the next person's, and it's hard to teach people who aren't programmers to be consistent on that. Right. One person can screw over the other person's formatting.
Right.
And we'd go back in and go, hey, what happened to the course? And we figured it out. And we try to tell people, but it's an easy one to miss.
Right.
It's a tough one. So I kept saying, can't you attach the style to the
title?
Yeah, and I think he thought that was a good idea. He said at one point they had that. And then it got kind of removed, and now I think it's hopefully it's coming back, because that would make it so easy to work in a team environment.
Yeah, maybe we should get together on that and see if we can figure that out.
Sure, because we have ideas on what it takes, and it's not that hard, but that would save us from each other, from ourselves,
right.
Because it's just an easy one to miss. And not everybody who's an author is a programmer.
Right.
They can author, but they may not be programmers. So that it's a kind of alien. Why do I have to attach that to it? Why do I have to import it? I'm confused. I'm asking for another feature on the online, and that's, can we save it to our own servers and have people within our team access it online? I think that'd be cool, because right now it has to go to your servers, but we'd love to have it inside. One, it's faster, and two, not more secure, but it's now we know exactly where everything is. So that's one thing we're considering, because that way we don't have to load the assets; they're there already.
Right.
So that's a big one, though. I think that's a big change. But if they can do that, that'd be cool. Yeah, all the little things. But on the whole, I tell you, it's darn impressive what the work you guys do. And a lot of people always said, "You guys work for them?" I go, "No," but I really respect the skill set that happens in there, and the end result is what we see in the product. And I just really love that. And John's been more and more adding visual stuff to it, which I like. And that's good. Those are all good things for the users and the product. And when we were at the LUC, what we noticed is there was a lot. I didn't hear unhappy users.
Right. Yeah. And that was a nice LUC. I mean, they're all good, but that one, I felt like maybe we were doing a lot better at that point. That was really nice. Yeah.
People were supportive. I noticed that. We interviewed people there on the fly, and the most of us saw the cameras and ran. It's like, no, I guess not. We're going to change it next year and not be so obvious, because the cameras were really obvious. We're going to kind of hide it a little bit more and bring them in before we snare them. Then at that point, we'll have Bruno or somebody just grab and say, "Sit down. You're now going to be interviewed." No, please, no. So we'll see what happens. But the interviews were fun. We did 3 hours of streaming. We went to lunch and came back and had some other meetings, and we streamed for 3 hours straight.
Wow.
And people were walking by, some were looking. Stephanie Ivek did 2 podcasts in the middle of all that. She just took advantage. She said, "Take advantage of it. You want to just," and so she interviewed a couple people while we were there. So it was fun.
Where are you guys located right now? Are you guys? Is this your house or?
No, this is our studio at work.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks really nice. Is that a green screen in the back?
There, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
nice.
So if you, I don't know, can we take off the green screen? If we do it, I don't know if we can actually turn it off real quickly, but.
I guess I would disappear if that went away too, right?
No, you wouldn't disappear, but your TV set, you'd be a floating head at that point.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a graphic background.
Oh, okay.
See, if I move my hand other hand, this way, it ends right about, I'm actually going further today. How come? Oh, he opened it up because I was going, the other day, it's like my hand would disappear right at the edge. So now I could say, I could actually tap you. It's so
That is so cool.
so we can kind of move in and out. You notice our background's gone now.
Yep.
So folks, this is all part of the Matrix. It's not real.
It's movie magic.
And now we're back. And it's amazing what you can do with green screening now because it's instant. In
That's
the old
great.
days, it was really tricky to get all the values right. Now it's so simple. It's part of that's processing power. The computers are so fast now that that's what I look like without anything. It goes into a black background.
Okay.
And then if you could see it behind me, there's just a big green screen. It's like a 12-foot green screen. 12 by, I think it's like, or maybe it's 14 by 12, something like that.
Oh,
So
there it
it's
is.
almost the whole wall. We've got it hanging and draped up. And then we have in front of me, I don't have a camera pointing this way, but we've got, what are you doing?
Sneaking a peek.
So, do we have the back camera set up? We don't, okay. And no, it won't work. That'll cause grief. So we don't have the other shot set up, but we have a back shot. You can see everything we're doing with the controllers. I've got two what are called blender lights in front of me. They're really small. They're only about that big, but they do a great job of lighting. And then overhead, we've got, this is cheap green screen. We have bigger lights, but it's harder to do them when you don't have an enormous room. This is only about a 15 by 12 room. So we've got 4 Philips LED lights you can buy at a Home Depot. They're daylight balanced. They're actually pretty good. They have a CRI of about 95, which isn't bad. That's the color rendering index. And they're lighting up the green screen. And we used to have the big KinoFlow lights in front of us, and that would light the green screen up. But it's harder to get rid of shadows. Well, with this, we don't have shadows.
Yeah.
And it works well. It actually is pretty good. And the mic just kind of floats in from outside, but it's actually on a boom stand to my what is it? My right over here, which is screen left.
Yeah, it's a really nice setup. You guys are looking
So
good.
it's fun. Yeah, if you see like our audio setup, we've got a whole tower of 4 audio compressors, limiters, gates. We've got the keyboard video, the KVM, the keyboard video monitor switcher between. Right now we have Mac Minis, but we just built 4 ITX machines. And if you don't know what ITX and the audience is, they're mini motherboards. So they're very small. They're about half the size of a real motherboard, but they have all the features. And so we put them in small boxes. They run pretty cool, and we're going to switch those out in the next couple weeks. And then right now you're looking at your image via a webcam that's pointing at a TV. We're a little low tech on that one. But because of a new thing called NDI, Network Device Interface, now we can actually send the network signal right back to Skype, and you would be seeing clearly, perfectly, without having to get any reflections or anything else, right without a TV. It would go back right on the network. So that's coming probably within the month.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we're seeing when we run the show.
Whoa.
That's called vMix. So we have all our shots. We've got, so you could see me as I'm waving. You can see me waving hundreds of times as it goes into infinity. But yeah, so what you see on your right, that is actually on your left, that's our preview. What's the shot that's coming up next? So if he changes that, let's say to your shot, or we can't do it right now, because the minute we preview, then it takes it off. So if he goes here, you notice the one on the right is what's live. The one on the left is what's coming up. And then when we do different transitions, and it's a lot of fun. We've got, how many shots do we have on this thing? We have 23 different shots that we can go to. Some of those include like the URL for Trivantis. Those are screenshots, videos, our intro, outro. It's actually a lot of fun.
It's really impressive. I enjoy that kind of stuff. It's totally
fun.
bringing the geek out of me.
Oh yeah, I know. We can really geek out on gear and cameras, and we have a lot of cameras too. So aside from doing the authoring that we do and all, we also have a full run and shoot video production. So we can shoot with all of the latest cameras. We got all. In fact, I just got a brand new Canon 5DS R, which is a 50 megapixel DSLR. It's huge. The detail on it is amazing, and so we can do corporate videos with those, interviews, whatever else. We've done tons of interviews throughout the years of different executives and stuff, and it's fun. So we have a good time with this, and we've been doing. I think we're in close to 700 shows throughout the last 7 years. So we've done lots of these shows, and they're fun.
It's good.
So it's a good time to get to talk to people and get to meet people and everything else. And of course, I have bad eyes, so when people come up to me in real life, they go, "Hey, Rick." It takes me a while to recognize them, to figure out, who are you? I know your voice, but who are you? And then people think, oh, he's ignoring me. No, I just don't see well. I literally do have bad eyes. So it's always kind of fun when people will maybe put the hand out to shake, and that's where the bad eyes come in. I have what they call retinitis pigmentosa, which creates a little bit of, not tunnel vision per se, but it could. And so things get a little bit out of range. I may not notice it.
Oh.
So my wife usually just says,
your peripheral's a little bit.
Exactly, the peripheral vision goes a little off. And sides aren't too bad, but the top and bottom are a little worse. And so people will shake, and I may not notice the hand at first. And Leslie will say something like, "Shake the hand," right?
Yeah.
And it's just, you just go with it.
I wanted to thank you as well. We got a lot of help from you on our PowerPoint stuff. For 16.2, we made some improvements to PowerPoint, and you were a big help.
Oh, we sent you some of the ones that we were having problems with.
Yeah, and that was a
Something
tremendous
changed from the old days to in between, because I know that was one of the things you were kind of saving for last. And so 16.2 addressed a lot of that?
Yeah, I mean, we hope it does. But if anything, it should be a lot better.
Cool.
PowerPoint's one of those things, like, you kind of need a lot of sample titles to work with.
Right.
It's hard to know every permutation. So,
Yeah.
but that was a very big help. So thank you for that. That was great.
We can help in any way. We always try.
Yeah.
I always come up with weird ideas. I have one for, I'll talk about this offline, but I gave John another one that might be really cool for the future. But anyway, this is great. I'm glad you could join us today. I have a feeling we could geek out for a lot of hours. So, and the audience is probably sitting there going, "What are they talking about? Where are we? Who are these people?" But you know what? That's what brings that great product to you. So don't forget that. This is the hard work of a lot of good people. And so when you think of people during Christmas, think of them, appreciate them, because they do good work. Actually, I think you guys got a whole mess of popcorn from us.
Oh, yeah, we enjoyed that.
I heard it was gone in moments. So somebody made a comment, there's not much left.
Yeah, no, we took care of that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. And at first I think we were going to send something, and then I'm not sure. I think the person who ordered like quadruple what we originally sent. We went, how many gallons? Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot.
They go, oh no, that's. And I remember, as developers, I go to Fry's Electronics a lot. I don't know if it's out in your area.
No, we don't have them.
It's like a Best Buy, but for geeks. It's really, It's all components. You can build stuff. We build all our computers from their components. But when you check out, there's about 100 and something feet of junk food on the way out. Every candy bar, every cookie. And I go, they really know, developers. Yeah. They've got us pegged. It's just bad. And there's not a day we go by that we don't pick up like some of the junk on the way out. And they look at us, go, did you find everything you wanted? Yeah, we just came in for the Kit Kats, but the rest was incidental. And it really feels that way. Well, Felipe, this has been a real pleasure. We look forward to seeing you again, and in person too. I know you'll probably be at the next user conference, so we're looking forward to seeing you there. And if we can help in any which way, just give us a call or reach out. And I'm going to reach out to Renee. I want to talk about UI stuff with him. That's been one of my backgrounds.
He'd love to get on one of these.
I've had a lot of experience with UI work, and it's like, I definitely want to talk to him. I talked to him a little bit at the show, but we didn't have a lot of time. People were really busy. But that'd be fun because there's definitely some UI. I've been asking John about some UI things, but that's everybody. Everybody's got the same UI issues called lack of contrast.
Yeah.
So we want to help fix that because we work on these things 8-10 hours a day sometimes. So the more contrast, the less our eyes get tired.
Yeah, and as a developer, I get it too. Yeah, Visual Studio now coming with the contrast.
Good.
It's nice. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you look at PowerPoint, my God, it's like 5% gray everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what are you thinking? People work in this thing, and then I hear people saying, "My eyes are tired. I got a headache." Well, yeah, that's because you're straining, and the monitors are really bright. So when you have a really bright monitor with 5% gray, you're struggling. And I still think we don't know all the effects of monitors, LED monitors, on our eyes. Probably another 10 years, then we'll know. And we may have more eye issues than people can imagine. There's a lot of light, a lot of photons are coming at you on these monitors.
Yeah.
Do the test. Stay in front of a monitor 5 minutes, turn off the lights, and you will still see the light.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We're getting there. But Felipe, it's a real pleasure. Don't take off. We'll talk to you a little bit right after show. And if you're watching the show, please subscribe and give us your feedback. And if you need to get a hold of Felipe, what's the best way if anybody wants to get a hold of you?
I guess my email, felipe.prieto@trivantis.com.
Okay, great. And you will be deluged by marketers now, but hopefully not. Anyway, have a good one, everyone. We will see you next week on Lectora Live. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.